To follow up from a post that I presented yesterday on Instagram and Facebook about the stretching conundrum, I want to just kind of expand on that a little bit to help your understanding of it, but also give you real life examples of something that most people can relate to. So kind of how a muscle works is when a muscle is weak, the body sends this response out to the muscle that says we have to tighten up. And it's done out of protection because a really weak muscle doesn't have the strength, the stability to support the joints and the body the way that it needs to. So it says, because you're weak, I'm going to make you stiffen up in order to keep you safe and stop further injury from happening. So the neurological response goes down to the muscle that says, let's tighten up and contract to protect you. And then that's when you have the perception of that muscle always feeling stiff. So I see this a lot with people with upper trap stuff. They always have this constant tension. They always feel like their neck is stiff and the muscles are irritating them. So what people often do is, oh, this is stiff, so let me stretch it, let me roll it out, let me do all of these things to try to relieve the stiffness. But you get further stretching and further weakness of the muscle that then leads you back to this neurological response then that says let's tighten up even more, and it's a never-ending process. So really, as long as you keep stretching it, trying to relieve that tension and doing all of these things, it's just going to continue to happen. So the real trick to this issue is identifying that it's not really a range of motion, a flexibility or stiffness issue. It is more a matter of identifying that weakness there. So when you address the weakness and you start to add strength to it, now the muscle doesn't need to always be on guard. The neurological response starts to calm down, and that muscle can start to begin to relax on its own because it doesn't need to always be in this constant state of tension. So a lot of times when you start to build that strength, that's when your symptoms actually start to go away. So a lot of times when people ask me, what is a stretch that I can do? They say, oh, my hamstring is always tight. I stretch it all the time and it doesn't ever feel like it's getting better. And for people like that, without doing a formal assessment to see what the tissue health really is like, is it a range of motion and a flexibility issue, or is it a weakness issue and that's why it's happening? So I'm always very cautious to give people recommendations without seeing them first on what a good stretch is for their hamstring or for their neck or whatever it happens to be, because the last thing you want to do when it's a weakness issue is give them this stretch that's only going to make them even more stretched out, even weaker, and then increase their symptoms even more. So identifying that underlying cause, and then not only can we make it feel better, but we can keep it from coming back and really make it go away.